What's up guys, Football P here, back again with another video. Now I hope you guys have had a great week so far. It is the 4th of July, so I hope you guys, or at least my American viewers, are having a good time, relaxing from work, school, or anything else that you may have. And to all my non-American viewers, my Canadian friends, happy Canada Day, and everyone else, hope you're just having a good week so far. Now in today's video, I want to give you guys a end-all, tell-all kind of situation on the hot water trick for your football boots. I am almost certain that every one of you who has watched this has seen this hot water trick in some shape or form, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or whether it is more recently. I am pretty sure that you guys have seen the hot water trick. It's been very popular amongst, these YouTubers, amongst people in the soccer industry, soccer players, who have essentially dipped their brand new shoes, sometimes even lightly used shoes, in a bucket of hot water in the hopes of breaking them in better and quicker. And now when I talk about this topic, even though it's something that I've kind of thought about, this video I've kind of thought about making for a little while, I really wanted to stay away from it. I didn't really want to make this video just for the sake of getting views, and since there is some sort of popularity rise in recent times, I didn't want to just make this video for the sake of making a popular video. But I did decide to make it, not for that reason, but more specifically because a lot of you guys messaged me on Instagram saying that you wanted to see how it works and if it even works at all. So the goal of this video is not necessarily just to show you how to do the hot water trick, but also talk about kind of the risks involved with it and what you should be cautionary of when you're actually doing it. And with all of this being said, I personally do not use the hot water trick. My opinion is if the shoes hurt that much to break in that you have to put them in a bowl of hot boiling water, then they're probably not the right shoes for you, or they're just quite frankly crappy shoes. But if you do choose to do it, and I completely understand if you do want to, since it could speed up the break-in process of a Flyknit boot, a synthetic, a leather boot, feel free to do this. But make sure that you do watch this video in its entirety to understand what you need to be aware of when you're doing it. Now with all of this laid out, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I've kind of broken down this video into 3 different parts. The first part is going to be talking about the things that you should be aware of going into it, giving some context and some background to why players even do this, and then also why there has been some controversy around this whole topic of putting your boots in hot water. Then secondly, I'll be using my own pair of soccer cleats, the Adidas Predators, and I will be putting them into hot water to show you how I would personally do it and how I have done it in the past to ensure that my boots don't break. And then lastly, I'll be talking about the effects of the hot water trick, if at all it even helps, or if it's just something that people like to do because it's a trend and people are addicted to trends or whatnot. And before we dive into these 3 different topics, if you really do appreciate the videos and the time that I put into them, I really appreciate the like. That would be a great way for me to gauge how much you do enjoy these videos, and would also show me some appreciation for the hard work I have been putting in. I really do appreciate those that come in and watch my videos and listen to things that I have to say. Now, giving some context on the hot water trick, I believe that the first time it came out was under the YouTube channel Free Kickers. I'm sure they saw it from someone else, but the first real popular people to popularize the hot water trick was Free Kickers. I mean, it must have been at this point over 10 years ago. And essentially what they do is, as I'm sure you know, is put their brand new cleats, synthetic or Flyknit, into a bowl of hot water. And now the reasons why you would do this is so that the material softens up, and then that way you're able to break them in quicker, and that way you're kind of able to get over the bump of the initial pain that you typically feel with a cleat, and therefore you're able to use them much quicker. Now, I must say that this technique has kind of been a little bit antiquated, just for the reason that at the time when this hot water trick came out, a lot of the synthetic that was on the Nike Mercurial Superflies was this really stiff and kind of annoying plasticky feeling that the cleats nowadays don't really have. The Flyknit is not really that same way, and it's really soft, where I personally don't see the need at all to use the hot water trick, but some people still may find it stiff and may want to use the hot water trick for that reason. And now the reason why this is a controversy is because of the adverse effects that it has on your shoes, supposedly. People online, you'll make a video on the hot water trick, I guarantee you there will be commenters below that will be like, you are ruining your boots, you're a idiot. And in all fairness, if you don't do it right and you're not careful about it, you could really ruin your cleat. The way you could ruin it is if, for example, you soak them in hot water too long, or you use them too quickly while they're still hot. Things like that will loosen the glue that holds the chassis with the upper of the cleat, and will loosen that glue, and then eventually your shoes will fall apart at a much quicker rate. Now, I would add at this point that the glue and the shoes are meant to resist heat, and they're meant to resist water at this point. There is still, though, a much higher risk that your cleats will break quicker than if you don't do this trick at all. I mean, that's just common sense. So when you're doing this trick, be really aware of how long you soak your boots in the water, and also be aware of the fact that you should wait until they're completely dry to really use them in a practice, training, or game scenario. Now, warning aside, let's get into the actual part of the hot water trick. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is fill up a bowl, obviously big enough for you to soak your cleats in them, and fill it up with hot water. Typically, this water should be hot enough to where you put your finger in it that it's uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be so hot that when you touch it, you're pulling your finger out, screaming and cursing because it hurts so much it just burnt your finger. Kind of like a fine line between, hot to a point where it's uncomfortable, but not to a point where you're yelling and screaming. That way, you'll be able to soften up your boots nice and soft, but you won't be in any way kind of messing up the glue or the structure of the shoe while you're doing it. And now once you've filled up this this tub or this bowl or whatever you have at your at your reach, it doesn't really matter what it is as long as you can fit your shoes in it. You want to soak them in there for around 5 to 10 minutes. I typically do 5 minutes as I find that works just good enough. And then after those 5 minutes, whenever you determine that they're soft enough, you would pull them out and you would put them on your feet. I know there's other ways to do this, and I know other players perhaps put them on and then put their feet back into the hot water, something like that. But the way that I have done it in the past, and all my teammates have done it, is that you would put the shoes in, you would soak them, then take them out, put them on your feet as they dry. Now, to have them on your foot, you would really only kind of want them on your feet for at most 10 minutes. And you would want to kind of walk around in your house with them. You'd want to put them on, move your feet in them, kind of do some little dynamic movements to loosen them up and kind of replicate the movements that your feet usually do. However, and this is really important, this is how I've seen people break their boots, is you do not want to go to the field right away. You do not want to be on the soccer field running at full 100%, even past 50% to be honest, to a point where your shoes and your feet are really bending and causing this kind of riff in the middle of the shoe. If you're doing that while the boots are still hot, you are seriously running the risk that you will break your shoes and they will snap in half pretty quickly. However, once you've kind of worn these shoes for 5 to 10 minutes, you walked around, you stretch your foot in them, you want to take them off again at this point since the molding has completed its form, and you want to let them cool down. Don't wear them before they have entirely cooled down, but once they are cooled down, you'll be ready to go, and that's as simple as it is. And now, to getting into the third part of the video where I wanted to talk about if this even is worth it, I have to say, no, it's not. I'm making this video to iterate again, to help the people that may find it worth it or have had found in their experiences that they need the hot water trick to work well. Or if you're someone who typically finds that it's hard to break into shoes, you may want to use this trick. This video is for you. However, my personal experience, I've done the hot water trick before, as I have just done now for the purpose of demonstration in this video. I don't find it useful at all. I typically like to just wait that extra 1 week of, mild pain, if even at all, to break in my cleats and have them kind of loosen up and soften up over time naturally. But this is entirely personal preference. If you want to do the hot water trick, at least make sure to do it the way that I described, in a kind of a safe and cautionary manner, versus just sticking your shoes into hot water and breaking the glue and voiding any sort of warranty that you have on the shoe. If you do it the right way, there won't really be any damage to your cleats, and you might get some rewards out of it. However, I find that kind of risk certainly outweighs the rewards, at least in my experience. Something that, when I used to work at a soccer store and people ask me about the hot water trick, I used to say, the hot water trick may work if you do it the right way, and it'll take away like that first week of break-in period, but you run the risk of seriously damaging your cleats. That's kind of like the trade-off that I like to say. You get that extra 1 week of less foot pain, if at all, but then you obviously run the risk of breaking. So yeah, that's all there really is to it. If you've made it to this point in the video, I'd really appreciate if you guys left a comment down below and told me if you guys have used the hot water trick before and whether or not it works. I'm really curious to know. If you guys also want to comment down below that the hot water trick is stupid, let me know down below. I'd love to kind of get some feedback on what the people out there do. And if you did appreciate this video, like I said, it would really mean a lot to me if you did leave a like, and if you made sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to not miss a thing. It is my summertime, I am working, but I'm making a video every week that is similar to this, where I sit down with you guys and I teach you guys something. It could be about the hot water trick, it could be some soccer drills, and some cleat reviews. I may or may not have some unreleased cleats in my room right now that I'm not allowed to show you up until the first release date, but like I said, hit that subscribe button to see these Nike cleats the day that they release before anyone else has them. But with all of that being said, once again, thank you very much for tuning in this week. You guys are awesome. Have a good rest of the week. Peace.